All right, I will stop talking and introduce Nancy MacIntyre and Nicholas Watkins. Okay, from the Fingerprint Network. And you guys are the early people who were doing the screening and collecting packages of apps and selling them, and you got beaten up pretty bad, fair to say. But you've changed, and so you're going to bring us up to date.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Nicholas Watkins from Samsung, and will be joining me in this presentation. And I was going to make like a Michael Bay joke, but I thought that might be off. So just at a high level, I think what we want to talk about is that the kids app business and the kids mobile business, and actually mobile business entirely, is pretty difficult. And for most of us in the room, we come from the traditional world of learning and play, where you build a great product, you put it on the shelf at retail, you get a fair price for it, you market to the child, they come into retail and it's all good. In the new world with hundreds of thousands of pieces of content, I think Apple says they get 3,000 submissions a day, Samsung undoubtedly more than that on a global basis. It's really challenging, and I think we all can remember when you could sell CD-ROM educational product and entertainment product for $40, and that same content is now $1.99 or 99 cents or free in the App Store. When we launched Fingerprint at the end of 2011, yeah, we got beat up, but the most important thing was we learned a lot about the consumer, and we've really evolved the way we're thinking about our business since then. So what we do is we've created a network of connected content, which means we've created a technology platform that we can integrate with an SDK into any app and then make all the apps on the network talk to each other. And that puts us in a position that we can implement any kind of business model we want, so subscription or freemium or paid. We can implement a range of parent and child features that bring the parent and kid together. And we can also do things like product recommendation and learning moments directly to the parent and hide them from the child in a way that's COPPA compliant, totally safe. So at its most simple, I said this isn't about the Samsung tablet because what we do with Fingerprint is actually a software solution that turns any device, tablet, TV, et cetera, into a kid's mobile network. And what we're super excited about announcing today is really our partnership with Samsung, where we will do a technology platform that helps take their devices into the world of kids. So I'm going to turn this over to Nicholas, and he'll talk a little bit about it.
Thank you. I think what Nancy pointed out so articulately was the fact that if you think about the App Store today, how do you even make sense? Nancy quoted 100,000 educational apps. That's such a large number. I mean, how does the human mind even consume that kind of volume? So, for example, if you're 127 out of 100,000. You could argue that's a huge success. I mean, are we talking about math? Are we talking about English? Are we talking about science? Are we talking 5 to 7? Are we talking 6 to 8? Are we talking 9 to 12? I mean, each one of those segments deserves an incredible amount of attention to detail and thought and targeting, and each one of those is a business model in itself. And I think when we found Fingerprint, we found a company who was committed to a specific genre, who was committed to a specific cause, who knew the apps very well, and really could solve that key problem for us, which was curation. And so, as Nancy articulated, we are offering, it's a software solution, so you don't, it works on Samsung tablets, but you don't have to go buy a piece of hardware. But if you have a Samsung tablet in existence, then our partnership will create that software, which will give kids a really, really safe playground to play in, to find the right apps, to find the games and the learning apps that they want in a really safe environment. And mom and dad can just pass the tablet over and have no worries about that kid bumping into any kind of questionable content.
And by the way, no advertising, no in-app purchase, no commercial element, because once the parent has made the decision, they know that everything is totally safe. And by the way, they'll be able to self-curate for their own child what kind of content they want to serve up. So we think this is a really unique, first of its kind service. So I'm going to show you what I would call a sizzle, because this is not the technology platform, and this is certainly not meant to be the broad scope of apps, but we'll show you a little bit about what the service looks like. So you're probably asking yourself, what was that language in one of those apps, which was actually Tamil, and then there's another app in there that you'll see that's in Bahasa, which is what's spoken in Malaysia, which is a great segue into what we're doing beyond the US. And again, I'm going to turn it over to Nicholas to talk about a little bit how we're approaching this.
So, I mean, one of the things that was really neat, so we're actually, I sit in that red zone right there. And that's where we live, and that's where, in this specific instance, the partnership that we're doing with Fingerprint is for Southeast Asia. It was a real challenge because we have 9 different countries in our region. We have everyone from Australia who speaks English to Malaysia and Indonesia who speaks Bahasa. But I think the big one of the things the reason we're so excited about that region is you've got 650 million people, you've got a massively growing middle class, and the parents of these kids are basically saying, I want my kid to have a better life than I have. And there's no more powerful catalyst for learning and education than parents who are, for the first time, moving into the middle class, discovering, buying their first toothpaste, getting their kids to school, dressing their kids in really nice clothes for the first time. And what's most important is making sure they have an education. So we're in a very fertile environment for education and learning. And that's really what excited us so much. So when we looked to Fingerprint, we found a company who not only said, hey, we're not just an American solution, but we're an international solution. And they're able to work with us to partner and to find games and applications that are going to work across our region, whether it's Thailand, the Philippines, New Zealand, Singapore. And that's something that I think was really beneficial.
Yeah, and I think what you can see from this is tremendous amount of growth in mobile learning around the world, with the highest growth rates really happening in Southeast Asia. So unlike most American companies that focus on Western language, Western first, and then expand to Asia, we really have a strong foothold in Southeast Asia now with this partnership. And our hope is that what we learn in that environment, we can really take on a global basis with Samsung and whoever. So just to talk quickly about what the service is, and Nicholas, feel free to jump in. Initially, we're launching in Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. It will be a subscription-based service, and we've got the capability to really test a variety of business models in different markets, which I think will really benefit us globally in terms of understanding what the market will really bear. And then, of course, it's Android. And initially, we're focusing on kids 3 to 7 years old. And we're going to start with a couple of territories this quarter and then expand to the rest later.
Yeah, I think the really interesting piece is the subscription piece, because obviously a lot of you are probably faced with an economic reality where even though you're passionate and you love your apps, but you have to figure out, gosh, I have to pay my staff, I have to pay my team, I've got the rent due, so how do I monetize that? So we've taken an approach, a very agile approach. We don't come off the gate thinking we know all the answers. But we're doing a test. We like the simplicity of a subscription model. We believe that parents are willing to pay a small premium for comfort and the security of knowing their kids are in a safe environment. So is that worth, $3.99, $5.99, $9.99 a month? We believe so. And I think some of the other tools that we're very excited about too, if you looked at some of in that sizzle reel, you saw some of the different tools that the parents have. They can limit times, they can see the progress of their kids, they can see how their kids are progressing through certain, metrics. And that was another feature that we think parents are willing to pay for. So we like the simplicity and the repetitive rhythm of getting that monthly payment every month from the parents. And so that's what we did, rather than trying to work through, especially with kids, with IAP. I know in-app purchases is very trendy right now. It certainly works in the gaming market, but we didn't feel like we wanted to have, parents have sticker shock. And so we like that comfort of a single fee that works across.
So the key point here today is we're looking for partners and content folks that are interested in partnering with us. So we announced on December 5th a $1 million fund to actually support content development around learning and play that will be for Southeast Asia and then ultimately the rest of the world. And just, it's fairly straightforward. Great learning, great fun, Android-based, and we love localized content. So, in the last month, we've had over 200 submissions from 40 countries, so it's really starting to happen, but you're a great audience that knows a lot of people, and, we'd love to talk to you. So we want you. You can go to info@fingerprintplay.com, and you can find me at nancy@fingerprintplay.com, and we are rocking and rolling, getting ready for our first launch in Q1, so we'd love to play ball with you. Thank you.
So it's good to see somebody going after Apple. Question? Couple?
Yeah, great.
We have time for maybe 0.3 questions. 2 questions? Okay. This is obviously a very complicated and nuanced kind of topic, and it's really wonderful to see this approach and to see Samsung taking a lead in this. I'm happy to see it because Apple does need the competition. Anybody? Yep. Renee?
Will this be usable across all Samsung devices or just the new kids' tablet?
It'll be across all the Samsung Galaxy devices, the tablets.
All right.
I was curious if you had any plans for a parental administration tool, something to maybe on the web or something like that. The kid gets the tablet, it goes somewhere else, and I want to be able to turn that thing off or adjust the amount of time they can use it. Any plans for that?
Great question. You want to answer that?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see that initially at launch, but we like that idea, and some work to do on making that work in the real world. But yeah, we like that.
We like the idea of parents being able to control their kids' experience, even though you may be in Vegas and they may be in Los Angeles.
The kids tablet does have very robust parent controls and also Google Play. And so I think people forget that's the thing I liked about the Samsung Kids tablet was that it had that easy linkage to Google Play. You could see what does the Fox say on it, and as well as anything else. So it doesn't limit. So, and I have to say, Samsung's engineering, the quality of the speakers, people forget about that stuff. The fact that the batteries are still working after 10 hours. People forget about that, and I think that's important. A lot of these cheap tablets are really cheap.
So what I would add is that what we hope is that consumers and partners recognize that this software platform will turn any Samsung device into a Samsung Kids tablet. So there's definitely a place for Samsung Kids tablet. We think it's fantastic. Ultimately, we hope fingerprint content will be on there. But the wide open market for hand-me-down tablets and the millions of devices out there, we hope to put this network on that and really put the right kind of content in the hands of kids that is curated, et cetera, on lots of devices. So that's really the magic here.
I think the other thing too, you talked about hardware, but one of the things about the Samsung tablets that I think is really unique is the stylus. And when you think about kids learning and you think about the motor skills that they're required to, whether it's tracing letters or tapping on things rather than just having sometimes the clumsiness of a finger, I think that stylus adds a whole new element and a whole new dimension. So for those of you who are developers in the room, we encourage you to think about that. If you guys are doing programs around writing or science or math, I mean, that's where it's very hard to draw 5, 8, 7, 3, 2, 1 with your finger, but it's actually really easy to do with a stylus. So we would encourage you as you get into our developers kit, or if you're thinking about developing for the platform, to really take advantage of that feature, because I think it's one of the things that separates us.
Well, Nicholas and Nancy, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for sharing today.
Thank you.
Robin, I'm going to turn it over to you.